Questions orales
Oral question.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
My mother taught me never to be late, so please forgive me for my late arrival to this session. I had some meetings with extremely important people in East Central Alberta, Mr. Speaker, after which I was honored to be elected by the great people of Battle River Crowfoot. I thank the great Damien Kirk who made it possible, and I thank the Prime Minister for calling a prompt by-election. I wonder if one day he might regret that decision, but in a spirit of good faith, I wonder if he agrees that our goal should be a Canada where hard work is rewarded, where food and homes are affordable, where streets are safe, where borders are solid, and where we're all united under a proud flag.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm sure I speak for all parliamentarians in welcoming the member for Battle River Crowfoot back to the House of Commons. He may notice a few things have changed since he was here last. The largest women's caucus in Canadian history. And a spirit of collaboration that was shown in the opening session, including in the passage of the Build Canada Act and the projet de loi du Bloc québécois en ce qui concerne.
And the Bloc's bill in terms of protecting supply management. I agree entirely with the sentiment and objectives of the Leader of the Opposition.
I was deliberately flexible on time because it's a special day, but now we're going to respect the 35-second limit. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Some things never change. Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank my constituents of Battlefoot Crowfoot, who we had a by-election very quickly, and sometimes the Prime Minister may regret his decision, but I think we all agree with the mission of re-establishing a Canada where hard work, an affordable home and homes and food, in safe streets and solid borders, all united under a proud flag. Does the Prime Minister agree with this?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I agree entirely with the sentiment and objectives that the Leader of the Opposition has just expressed for our great country. Thank you.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister mentioned how much had changed, and it's true. I look around this place, and when I left, there was a Liberal Prime Minister who was making excuses about breaking promises, running massive deficits, costs, crime, chaos were all out of control. And whereas today, we have a Liberal Prime Minister breaking promises, making excuses, running massive deficits with costs, crime, and chaos out of control. Mr. Speaker, when will the Prime Minister match the grand promises with the real change Canadians need?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I understand the Minister, or the Minister, promotion. Come on over. I understand the Leader of the Opposition was busy. He missed the largest tax cut for 22 million Canadians. He missed the cut on the GST for new homes. He missed eliminating all federal barriers to trade. He missed, I hope I'll have another opportunity to finish a very long list of what the Leader of Opposition.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Dans l'esprit.
In a nonpartisan spirit, we're simply going to insist that the Prime Minister adhere to his own promises. He promised the strongest growth in the G7 for our economy, and now our economy is declining the fastest in the G7. He also promised that food would cost less. It's more, and food inflation is accelerating. He promised a budget in October, and now we'll see one maybe in November with a double deficit. So, inaudible.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this government has been absolutely focused on improving affordability for Canadians. That's why the largest tax cut, 22 million Canadians, every taxpayer in this country. That's why the cut to the GST. That's why the launch of Build Canada Homes, which will reduce the cost of home building in this country. That's why we back the CRTC to get broadband costs down for Canadians. We are building the strongest economy throughout the worst crisis in our history.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
In the spirit of nonpartisanship, we are simply going to hold this Prime Minister to his own promises. He promised that he would spend less. He's already spending 8% more. He promised the budget would be in October. Now he says it will be in November, more than halfway through the fiscal year. He promised that his government would have a smaller deficit than Justin Trudeau. Instead, now we hear that it might even be double. So a trivia question. Can the Prime Minister tell us, has there ever been a Prime Minister who has successfully doubled the deficit without even introducing a budget?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
It's a trick question.
Mr. Speaker, this government is undertaking the biggest investment in protecting Canadians in the Canadian military. Doubling our investment in the Canadian military from last year when this member last sat in the House by the end of this decade. This government, there's more.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
There's a lot more debt is what there is, Mr. Speaker. A lot more debt than we ever imagined would be possible. This is a Prime Minister who said we'd have the fastest growing economy in the G7. We have the fastest shrinking economy in the G7. He said grocery prices would go down. They're going up faster than ever before. He promised to create jobs. He has the second highest unemployment in the G7. He's really reminding us all of that sign at the bar, free beer tomorrow. But you come back the next day and the beer is still not free, and tomorrow never comes. Mr. Speaker, why is it that all of this Prime Minister's promises of yesterday turn into today's disappointments?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I think if we are going to build the strongest economy in the G7, and we will, we need to be clear. We need to be clear about the scale of the crisis we are in. We need to be clear about the scale of investment that we need. $60 billion in new projects announced last week. $200 billion in investment announced last week. $100 billion in housing investment announced just yesterday. That's the scale of what we need.
L'Honourable Député.
The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Champlain. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister was elected saying that he would be the best to face the tariff crisis and the trade war. Almost 4 months have gone by, and Canada is not coming out on top. At best, we can say that it hasn't been a success. Can he commit now to put an end to tariffs and an end of a trade war agreement with the United States, his true priority? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the current situation is this. We have the best deal with the U.S. worldwide right now. We're talking about more than 85%. 85% is enormous of our exports are covered under free trade with the U.S. We have the lowest tariff in the world right now. That is a success. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. I would contest such statements which would not live up to economic analysis. We would have to look at that in another forum. But the Prime Minister says we have a privileged relationship with the U.S. and it no longer exists. But this statement didn't go over very well in Washington. Can he state today that he is confident that he can reestablish our privileged relationship of trust between Canada and the U.S. administration quickly as the best way to put our trade relationship back on a right track? The Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Canada-U.S. relationship is good. Yes, we are experiencing difficulties and challenges, some setbacks, but I am proud that this government stands up for Canada, but that's true. I speak regularly with the President over the past weekend in terms of the current situation between Ukraine and Russia and China. We spoke. The Honourable Member for Belleuil-Chambly. The Prime Minister's rare presence in Washington, both in terms of the U.S. administration and the economic troubles. Well, his absence was noted a great deal in Washington. When did he go for the last time to Washington, and when will the PM start seriously going to the capital city of our main partner and make it a priority, rather than talking about infrastructure that won't even be put in place until the end of Mr. Trump's term? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the U.S. President is a modern man. I speak with him regularly. We send each other text messages. But what's the most important right now for Canada is to diversify our trade internationally with Europe, in Asia, with Africa, and South America. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Foothill.
Same Liberal promises, the same Liberal results. Canadians are paying the price for another Liberal Prime Minister's broken promises. This Prime Minister said to Canadians that he would be judged by prices at the grocery store. Results are in. This Prime Minister has failed. Food prices have surged 40% since the last Liberal Prime Minister broke that same promise the last time. Should this Prime Minister's promise to Canadians not be judged by food prices at the grocery store, but the number of families being forced to food banks?
Right.
Hear, hear.
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the number one cost for Canadians is their housing, and we have taken action to make housing more affordable. Yesterday, the Prime Minister and I announced the launch of Build Canada Homes, which will be a one-stop shop for making housing more affordable across Canada. And we're launching that on 6 pieces of Canada lands, 4,000 homes that we will start building immediately. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Foothills.
Canadians can't afford to put food on the table, let alone pay for the Liberals' bureaucracy when it comes to housing. But let's be clear. This was the Prime Minister's promise. These were the Prime Minister's words. This is the Prime Minister's failure. Food prices are going to go up $700 per Canadian family this year. Canned soup is up 26%, apples 14%, tuna 19%. The daily essentials have become unaffordable. Is sticker shock at the grocery store the experience that this Prime Minister promised Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As far as promises delivered goes, this government promised to launch Build Canada Homes and make the largest investment in affordable housing in Canadian history. We are taking action where it matters most. and Canadians need support on affordable housing. Across the board, we need more support, but starting with housing, and housing first, particularly for those on low incomes and those who are homeless. We are taking action.
Honourable member for Thornhill.
Prime Minister told Canadians that they should judge him by the prices they pay at the grocery store. But food inflation is 70% above target. The grocery prices are up 40% in less than a decade, and all of those years the Liberals were in power. And the cost of food has risen overall more than inflation every single month that this Prime Minister has been here. Canadians should judge the Prime Minister by his words. That's only fair. But is it that he never shops for food, or is it that he thinks inflation is something that happens to other people?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, we'll come back to the #1 cost for Canadians and concern is around affordability of housing.
That's so true.
I know the Conservatives and the members opposite do not care about affordable housing. We're here to take action on it. Make life more affordable for Canadians, starting with their homes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Good work.
The Honourable Member for Thornhill.
The minister cannot ignore the problem of millions of Canadians using a food bank every single month, and that hasn't changed. It happened under this Liberal government's watch, and now they're making excuses or changing the subject entirely. Canadians are getting fleeced at the grocery store, and it's only going to get worse because next year their bill will be $700 higher per family. That's another Liberal broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch by another Liberal Prime Minister. So is that the experience that he's now promising Canadians?
L'Honourable Ministre des Finances.
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
We listen to Canadians, something that the Conservative may want to do a bit more. And what Canadians have told us, Mr. Speaker, is affordability is the first concern. The second is housing, and the third is the economy. What have we done, Mr. Speaker, while the leader was away? The first thing we did for Canadians was to reduce taxes for 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. Everyone got a raise on Canada Day, Mr. Speaker. The second thing, we removed GST on first-time home buyer, Mr. Speaker. And we are going to build with Canadians, with every Canadian, the strongest economy in the G7. That's what this Liberal government is about.
The Honourable Member from Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. On the day that the Liberal Prime Minister was sworn in, he stated that Canadians would judge him based on the cost of groceries. And let's look at the results of this Liberal system. Food inflation is now 70% above target. Families are paying more, children are earning less, and this is just another broken promise by the Liberals. Does the Prime Minister admit that his own words were just another Liberal deception because the Prime Minister is now just another Liberal like the rest of them? Why is this Prime Minister making grocery shopping an increasingly painful and expensive experience for families? The Right Honourable, the Minister of Canadian Identity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I had the pleasure this morning with my colleague, the Minister of Infrastructure and Housing, and colleagues from the Quebec government to launch a project to build 20,000 homes, including 6,000 off-market homes that are affordable to help families and people in the Montreal region. And we're going to do this across our country, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Mégantic-L'Érable-Lotbinière. Are the Liberals not ashamed that their Prime Minister did not keep his promise to make groceries more affordable? Since this Liberal Prime Minister came to power, the cost of stewing beef rose 22%, potatoes up 20%, onions 11%. Even Bolduc can no longer afford a good stew. Canadians will judge him based on the cost of groceries, and he said so himself. The verdict is clear. Another broken Liberal promise. Why is this Prime Minister just making groceries a painful and expensive experience for families? The Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, I'm surprised by my colleague's question. Not only did we listen to the Conservative constituents and all Canadians, they told us one thing, Mr. Speaker: tackle the cost of living. And the first thing our government, Liberal government, did was to lower tax for 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. That's money back in the pockets of people in his riding, Mr. Speaker. The second thing that the Canadians asked us to do is to build affordable homes. And yesterday, Mr. Speaker, we launched Build Canada Homes to help more families. On this side of the House, we're going to work to build the strongest economy in the G7. The honourable member for Montmorency-Charlevoix. Merci, Mr. Speaker. When his cabinet was sworn in, the Prime Minister said that Canadians will be able to judge him based on the cost of groceries. Well, everyone in my riding talked about their concerns, and the cost of groceries are at the top of that list. The Liberal government was promising better prices, and once again, they're not delivering the goods. So since the Liberals have been to power, groceries have gone up by 40%. The PM's promise for fair price groceries is just another broken promise. The Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, what young Canadians and Canadians in general want is obviously to be able to have an affordable life in Canada, to be able to buy a home and an affordable home, and also to have a resilient economy for the future. Because on this side of the House, we've always understood that the best thing we can do is to build a strong economy for all Canadians. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, I can tell you that the Liberals will work together to build the strongest economy, to make life affordable for Canadians, build more homes, make Canada, Mr. Speaker, the best economy in the G7. The honourable member for Repentigny. Mr. Speaker, only one summer and 10 years back in terms of the environment, the Prime Minister adopted C5 to improved projects without social license, and they want to skip environmental evaluations for pipelines, and they're not talking about zero emissions vehicles, and even they're taking a step back in terms of the sale of these vehicles. And even went even further, they refuses to commit his GSG reduction emissions in the midst of a climate crisis. Will this government keep its own, respect its own targets for 2030? The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change. We continued to fight against climate change. We know it's important. It was important for future generations and for our economy, because when we look around the world, everyone wants low-carbon products, and that's exactly what we want to do, is to build a strong Canada, and it'll be one that will be good for future generations. The honourable member for Repentigny. Mr. Speaker, let's talk about the government's big projects with C5. C5 is overreach that even affects good projects, because good projects don't need to skirt environmental impact assessments or federal legislation. They don't need to snub social license. If they're doing this, then these aren't good projects. Can this government promise that all of these major projects will respect environmental norms, legislation, and the will of Quebecers? The Honourable Minister of the Environment and Climate Change. Mr. Speaker, it's always interesting to hear the Bloc talk about important projects when the Bloc leader did authorize drilling on Anticosti Island when he was the Minister of the Environment. But now we are going to build a strong economy, and that is clean for future generations. That's what we're doing, and we are going to build a strong Canada for future generations.
The honourable member for Parry Sound, Muskoka.
The Prime Minister promised to double home building to 500,000 homes per year, but today housing starts are down 13%, another broken Liberal promise. Yesterday, the Prime Minister introduced a fourth $13 billion housing bureaucracy to build, wait for it, 4,000 homes. What blocks home building is government bureaucracy, red tape, and taxes. So why does the Prime Minister believe that adding $13 billion more bureaucracy is now suddenly going to solve the housing crisis?
The Honourable Minister for Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I'm happy to share that there is a significant commitment, $13 billion, that will be invested in housing and leveraging private investment as well, working with private capital, with builders and communities across Canada to make sure we are building the affordable housing that Canadians need, particularly young Canadians who can't afford to get into the market. Those 4,000 units are the first start on Canada Lands and the very, very beginning of the most comprehensive investment in Canadian affordable housing.
Member for Parry Sound, Muskoka.
$13 billion for a fourth federal Ottawa housing bureaucracy to build 4,000 homes is not a solution. It is yet another Liberal boondoggle that will cost Canadians a fortune and will solve nothing. The Prime Minister said the core challenge present in the housing market is it's just too hard to build. It's hard to build because of government taxes and red tape. In Toronto and Vancouver, the cost of government on a new home is over 25%. Housing starts there have stopped. Why does the Prime Minister not understand that if we're going to get homes built, we have to cut the bureaucracy, not add $13 billion more?
The Honourable Minister for Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, the member opposite and the Conservatives may not believe in investing in affordable housing. This government does. This government is making an unprecedented investment in building affordable housing in partnership with the private sector, in partnership with cities, provinces, territories, Indigenous nations. We are going to deliver with our partners like never before.
The Honourable Member for Barrie Springwater, Oro-Medonte.
Mr. Speaker, under this Liberal government, lawlessness has become the norm in Canada. In many cities, children can't play safely in parks, families can't walk down sidewalks, businesses are suffering, and residents are living in fear. Tent encampments and lawlessness are taking over public spaces. This summer, Barrie Mayor Alex Nuttall was forced to take the extraordinary step of declaring a state of emergency to try and restore order back to Barrie. Wow. Canada was not like this 10 years ago. When will this Prime Minister stop this reckless Liberal agenda and bring order back to our communities?
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, our plan to keep communities safe will keep drugs, guns, and criminals off our streets. We're partnering with police services across the country to fight organized crime. We'll make it tougher for violent criminals to get bail and impose stricter sentences to repeat violent offenders. We're hiring 1,000 CBSA and RCMP officers to add to the 10,000 frontline personnel who are already keeping our borders safe. This work will be bolstered by investing in community safety initiatives to stop crime before it starts. Mr. Speaker, we will always be there to keep Canadian communities safe.
The Honourable Member for Cloverdale, Langley City.
Mr. Speaker, this Liberal Prime Minister swaggered in promising a massive surge in home building, 500,000 new homes a year. After all that hype, Vancouver families are still staring at million-dollar price tags. That surge hasn't even made a ripple. Projects are stalled, permits crawl through red tape, and the only thing going up faster is the bureaucracy he's building. Now that big pledge has shrunk to just 4,000 homes at the cost of $4 billion, and yet another Liberal broken promise. When will the Liberals stop building bureaucracy that makes homes more expensive for Canadians?
The Honourable Minister for Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Liberal government focuses on building affordable housing with our partners. This is an unprecedented investment alongside a cut to the GST for first-time home buyers, which we are rolling out. We are focused on delivering solutions, on delivering housing in the communities that need it the most, and that investment was never seen from Conservative governments, certainly not in the history that I'm familiar with. We saw housing not being a priority for the members opposite. We're focused on it delivering.
The Honourable Member for Beauce. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals are back at it again with a new bureaucracy for housing, but one that ultimately creates inflation and solves absolutely nothing. The Prime Minister promised Canadians he would double housing and construction, committing to build 500,000 units per year. But what's he actually doing? Proposing a new bureaucracy that will only build 4,000 new homes. Mr. Speaker, we know this government is back at it again with more bureaucracy instead of focusing on building more homes. Why? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Culture. We have to work together on this, Mr. Speaker. We need to work with the municipalities, with stakeholders, with the provinces. The Conservatives think you just need to insult people, but we think you need to work together, and that's what we've done this morning. The Minister of Infrastructure and Housing and myself made a historic announcement for the construction of 20,000 units. And that's just a start, Mr. Speaker. We're going to do it all across the country. We'll do that together with our partners.
The Honourable Member for Carleton.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians made it clear, excuse me, in the last campaign that they expect us to deliver real housing solutions, to get more homes built faster, to bring down the cost of housing so that young people, families, those most vulnerable, and those along the housing continuum can access housing that meets their needs. Can the Minister of Housing and Infrastructure please tell this House about the government's recently announced plan to deliver affordable housing to Canadians?
The Honourable Minister for Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll thank the member from Carleton for his question and for the focus today on affordable housing. And I know the member from Carleton is very concerned about making sure it's green, sustainable housing, and we will certainly focus on ensuring that energy costs are low, that these are resilient homes that get us through the challenges ahead with climate change. We will make sure they are affordable, first and foremost, and build a new Canadian industry manufacturing the best homes in the world. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Kamloops, Thompson-Nicola.
The Prime Minister said he would fix safer streets for the on behalf of the Liberals. He promised to fix the broken Liberal justice system. And yet, an 8-year-old was killed while sleeping, the place he should have been safest. Now, Mr. Speaker, the Justice Minister said this isn't the Wild West, and he's right. 8-year-old children sleeping in their homes and getting killed did not happen in the Wild West. The Liberals say they're tough on crime, but they won't repeal Bills C-5 and Bill C-75. Another bait and switch from another Liberal Prime Minister. When will these same old Liberals get tough on crime?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, obviously the circumstances my honourable colleague raises constitute an entire tragedy that should shock the conscience of every Canadian. But when the honourable member poses a question about repealing Bill C-75, I would suggest it is a good idea to read it first. He does not seemingly understand that bill actually makes it harder for people who are charged with intimate partner violence to receive bail. Now, I am willing to work in good faith with members of any party to help strengthen the bail system, have harsher penalties for serious crimes, and most importantly, to keep Canada safe. The only question I have that remains is whether the Conservatives will join us in that effort.
The Honourable Member for Kamloops, Thompson-Nicola.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives have been waiting for 10 years to help the Liberals create safe streets, and they have brought forward next to nothing. I spent some time with the Vancouver police this summer. What did we see? What do we see in Vancouver? Guns, lawlessness, drug overdoses. I saw firsthand the increases of I saw firsthand the 152% increase in overdoses. The Liberals promised safer streets, lower overdoses, another bait and switch to go with their broken promises. When will these Liberals fix the justice system that they...
The Honourable Minister for Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, I too had the opportunity to be with the Vancouver police and to see firsthand the challenges that they're facing. I was there with their fentanyl czar, Kevin Brasseau, and we saw the incredible work of the Vancouver police in ensuring that their communities are safer. In fact, just recently, 2 days ago, the Mayor of Vancouver indicated that the program that they put in place is working. Together with the work that we're going to be doing on bail reform and ensuring that violent criminal repeat offenders are put away, we will make our communities safer, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Oxford.
Mr. Speaker, violent crime is up over 55%, and more than half of Canadians don't feel safe in their own neighbourhoods. This Prime Minister promised to crack down on crime, yet repeat offenders keep getting out on bail. Another broken promise, but Canadians are paying the price. Families are shattered, lives have been lost, and that's why my Jail Not Bail Act will put these criminals behind bars. So the question is simple. Will the Prime Minister support our bill, restore safe streets, or was that another broken Liberal promise?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, it was in our platform. We've got a mandate and we've promised Canadians that we are going to keep our communities safe. This fall, we're tabling legislation to make bail tougher, to make sentencing harder and stiffer on repeat violent criminals. We're going to make sure that these types of criminals stay behind bars and that everyone feels safe in their homes and on their streets.
Hear, hear.
The honourable member for Saskatoon West.
Prime Minister promised to fix the Liberals' broken bail system, but he hasn't delivered. Another broken Liberal promise, another Liberal bait and switch, because this Prime Minister is just another Liberal. Chief McBride, Saskatoon's top cop, says it's a struggle every day with repeat offenders. The Prime Minister says he'll get tough on crime, but since the Liberals took power, repeat offenders have fueled a crime wave in Canada, with violent crimes up 55%. Mr. Speaker, when will the Prime Minister stop breaking promises and put repeat violent offenders behind bars?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Speaker, it's encouraging to see that there is alignment between the Conservative opposition and the Liberal government when it comes to improving public safety, including through the adoption of stronger laws to help build safer communities. I have good news for my colleague. We will be introducing legislation during this parliamentary session to strengthen bail reform in this country, to have harsher sentences for violent repeat offenders, and to make sure that we have the support to help keep communities safe with direct investment in law enforcement. Mr. Speaker, I look forward to working with my honourable colleague and members on both sides of the aisle to advance public safety in this country.
The honourable member for King Vaughan.
The Prime Minister promised to fix their broken criminal justice system and did nothing all summer. Meanwhile, 7 shootings have occurred in Vaughan in less than 3 weeks. A father, Abdul Aleem Faruqi, was shot dead protecting his family. Families across Canada are terrified, and repeat violent offenders are still on our streets because of weak Liberal laws like Bill C-5 and C-75. Another Liberal broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch, because this Prime Minister is just another Liberal. When will this Prime Minister's broken promises stop?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Combating Crime.
Mr. Speaker, the tragedy that the member refers to is one that's impacted my community greatly, and my sincere sympathy goes out to the family. We're going to make sure that repeat violent offenders are kept behind bars. Mr. Speaker, this summer I consulted with many police agencies across the country. A lot of their recommendations are going to be seen in this bill, but provinces too have to do their part to fix the broken justice system. They have to invest in Crown prosecutions, and they have to make sure that there are enough judges to hear the trials.
The honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
The Prime Minister promised to grow the economy, but it's shrinking. And since he took office, tens of thousands of jobs have been lost. But the Liberals are on track this year to bring in the most temporary foreign work permits ever. It's so bad that a former Liberal immigration minister just said that they admitted that they let industry become, quote, addicted to temporary work. And he's right. Amid the PM's pledge to cut the public service, even the Liberals are using TFWs to fill federal government jobs. We've talked about buying Canadian. Why isn't the Prime Minister making people hire them?
Hear, hear. The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, temporary foreign worker use is down by 70% in this country. Less than 1% of our workforce is temporary foreign workers. And in fact, in Canada, Canadians come first for any available jobs. That's why the department has rigid rules for employers that are looking to fill vacancies with workers from other countries. And Mr. Speaker, if employers are abusing the program, they receive serious penalties, including banning from the use of this program.
The honourable member for Richmond Hill South.
Only a Liberal Prime Minister could promise to secure our border and fail in just 6 months. Over the summer, asylum claims from illegal U.S. crossings spiked dramatically, piling onto a staggering backlog of nearly 300,000 unprocessed claims. Many of these are likely bogus, yet claimants are immediately entitled to work permits, health care, and benefits on the backs of Canadian taxpayers. Another broken Liberal promise, another bait and switch, because he's just another Liberal Prime Minister. How much longer is the Prime Minister going to keep our border open and let it become a backdoor, unplanned stream of economic migration conversation before he finally takes action.
Great. The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. While the opposition is concentrating on, making assumptions and speaking about things that are not there, let me tell you that with the asylum system, our numbers are down 40%. We've also introduced Bill C-2, which will strengthen our border. And this legislation is in front of the House. We campaigned for, and Canadians have gave us a mandate, so did Conservatives, and we hope that the Conservatives will help us pass
The Honourable Member for Abbotsford South Langley.
The Liberals promised to fix Canada's immigration system and broke that promise. Up to 500,000 people have overstayed their visas in Canada. Teens can't find work. Healthcare is overwhelmed, housing is out of reach, and crime rates are soaring because of the Liberals' reckless policies. The Liberals continue to maintain high levels of immigration and won't even remove those who are non-citizen criminals convicted of serious crimes. The Liberals have had all summer to find these non-citizen criminals and remove them. Why didn't they?
The Honourable Minister of Citizenship and Immigration.
Mr. Speaker, I know Canadians are concerned. Our government has been working tirelessly, and we understand that we need to see a return to sustainable immigration levels that fits our capacity and that serves our growth. And that is exactly why we are focused on our levels plan with reducing both temporary and permanent residents in this country, and we are seeing results. We're bringing population to sustainable levels and decreasing the pressures on housing and services. We are focused on solutions on this side of the House, and there is legislation in front of this Parliament, and we hope that the Conservatives will support it.
The Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
So let me get this straight. The Prime Minister promised to grow the economy, but it's shrinking. He promised he'd create jobs, but Canadians are losing it. We're in a healthcare crisis and a housing crisis, but the Liberals still issued record numbers of TFW permits this summer. They continued to let the asylum system be abused, and they still haven't removed countless non-citizen criminals. Mr. Speaker, why does the Immigration Minister still have her job?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Mr. Speaker, temporary foreign workers make up less than 1% of our total workforce. In fact, this is a program where employers must demonstrate that they vigorously and actively looked for Canadian workers, because Canadian workers come first, Mr. Speaker. If an employer is found to have violated this program, there are severe penalties. There is also a tip line, Mr. Speaker, so that if Canadians or any member of Parliament feels there's been an abuse, this can be reported to officials and it will be investigated.
The Honourable Member for Longueuil-Saint-Hubert. Mr. Speaker, Canada is a nation of builders. That's why earlier this month, the Prime Minister announced the first series of projects for the historic Major Projects Office. That includes projects as diverse and ambitious as the expansion of LNG production in BC, the development of SMRs in Ontario, major mining projects in Western Canada, and the Contrecoeur Terminal Container Project near my riding of Longueuil-Saint-Hubert. Can the Minister of Finance inform this House about the benefits? The Honourable Minister of Finance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague for his excellent work. Indeed, this major project will increase capacity at the Port of Montreal by about 60%, Mr. Speaker, by providing Eastern Canada with the commercial infrastructure to ensure the flow of goods. With the creation of the Major Projects Office, we're moving from vision to action. Our government is committed to delivering transformative projects that not only create thousands of good jobs, but also connect our diverse regions and stimulate new industries. Mr. Speaker, that's how we're going to make Canada the strongest economy in the G7.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to remind this Prime Minister that on the day he swore in his cabinet, he said that Canadians would judge him by the cost at the grocery store. Well, the judgment is here, and the verdict is failure.
Yep.
Food inflation is now 70% above target.
Wow.
Another Liberal broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch, because this Prime Minister is just another Liberal.
Shame.
Add to this rent.
You're right.
6 months later, why are Canadians still being forced to choose between rent and grocery?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I'll once again take this opportunity to let the opposition members know Build Canada Homes is up and running as a one-stop shop to build affordable housing in Canada.
Hear, hear.
We are going to deliver like never before. We're going to ensure that particularly Canadians who are on low incomes, and there is $1 billion dedicated to transitional supportive housing for those who are homeless or at risk of homelessness.
Wonderful.
We are delivering on the affordability across the country, Mr. Speaker.
Great work.
The Honourable Member for Cambridge.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister said when he swore in his cabinet that Canadians would judge him by the cost at the grocery store. But with elbows flying up and down, the Liberal government didn't roll up their sleeves and bring down grocery prices. While the Prime Minister does his chicken dance, 5,000 people use a food bank in Cambridge. Canadians are getting crushed. Food prices are up nearly 40%, and food inflation is 70% above target. Another Liberal broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch, because this Prime Minister is just another Liberal. Is this sticker shock his promise to Canadians? Good job.
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I have good news for the member. That is a very real issue, and that's why we have a very real answer, Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House. The very first thing that this Prime Minister did for Canadians was to reduce taxes for 20 million Canadians. 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker, have more money in their pocket to face the cost of living, Mr. Speaker. On this side of the House, we're not about slogans. We're not about jokes. We are serious to deliver for Canadians, and we will continue to fight for Canadians at every segment of the way, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Louis Saint Laurent à Kennemac. Mr. Speaker, we're talking about Canadians' daily problems. When the Prime Minister was sworn in, he said Canadians could judge him based on prices in the grocery stores. 4 months later, groceries are way more expensive. There's inflation across the board, and people are struggling even more because of this broken promise. Canadians are starting to see that the Prime Minister breaks his promises just like all other Liberals before him. Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister explain to Canadians why grocery prices are so much more expensive? The Honourable Finance Minister. Mr. Speaker, Canadians met with the Prime Minister, and they saw that they had a Prime Minister who listens and who has a vision, and above all, a man of action. With the new Liberal government, the first thing we did, Mr. Speaker, was to reduce taxes for 22 million Canadians all across the country, recognizing that we need to pull together to help those who are the most in need. But in doing that, Mr. Speaker, we also enabled those who wanted to buy a home to pay less GST, less tax, and at the same time, we have embarked on the most ambitious house building program in Canadian history.
Mr. Speaker, this summer, I heard from folks in my riding of the Bay of Quinte about the cost of living challenges they face. For members of the Canadian Armed Forces, this is no different. As our government makes a generational investment in our military, can the Minister of National Defence update this House on the support we're providing for our men and women in uniform?
The Honourable Minister of National Defence.
Mr. Speaker, we know that our forces and their families face challenges as they move across the country from posting to posting. That's why this summer we gave our forces a well-deserved and overdue pay raise, Our $2 billion compensation package is the largest in a generation. It means that untrained sailors, aviators, and soldiers will receive a 20% pay raise. As the brave women and men of the Canadian Armed Forces answer the call to serve, Mr. Speaker, they need to know we've got their backs.
The honourable member for Okanagan Lake West, South Kelowna.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised that he would be elbows up and buy Canadian. He broke that promise when he rewarded the communist Chinese government a $1 billion loan to buy ferries for BC as they tariff our seafood and egg producers. That's not elbows up. It's another Liberal broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch, because this Prime Minister is just another Liberal. Newly uncovered documents show senior Liberals were only concerned about their political interests. They did nothing to cancel the contract and ensure that our shipbuilders could participate. When will this Prime Minister stop rewarding Beijing, cancel this loan, and buy Canadian?
The Honourable Minister of Housing and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I speak for all members of this House that we are disappointed that BC Ferries made the procurement decision that they made. And, Mr. Speaker, it's really unfortunate that no Canadian companies bid on this contract with BC Ferries. That's something that we have to all rectify, and we have to change that by buying Canadian. I agree with the member opposite. On this side of the House, we are bringing forward comprehensive Buy Canadian program to make sure all of our agencies and departments are focused on buying Canadian.
Good answer.
The honourable member for Vancouver Kingsway.
Mr. Speaker, unemployment has surged to its highest level in a decade. Young people are being hit the hardest. 1 in 6 can't find work. Our economy is facing a recession, and millions of Canadians are worried about their jobs. Yet, Liberals are planning to slash services people rely on and eliminate family-sustaining jobs through an austerity budget this fall. Will this government reverse course and create much-needed jobs through bold initiatives like a youth climate corps, as New Democrats have proposed?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
Mr. Speaker, last week it was a very proud moment for me to stand with the Prime Minister and the Canadian Building Trades Unions, who are training young people all across this country for great-paying union jobs that are going to build the things that will make us the strongest economy in the G7. Mr. Speaker, this government has a fantastic plan for youth. We are investing in skills training. We are investing in the provinces and the territories so that they can do this work with us. We'll make sure no young person gets left behind.
That concludes this fall session's first question period.
To the presence in the gallery of the Honourable P.J. Akiagok.